The digital context is also determining the course of India's national, democratic and social revolutions. So let's consider first the national revolution. When Guha speaks of India's national revolution, he is referring to the fact that at the moment of independence, India was not a single unified nation state. There was considerable nation building to be done. For comparison, take the American example. 13 colonies joined together to form one collective nation, initially under the Articles of Confederation before the Constitution was ratified in 1788. Before 1947, India comprised a handful of colonial provinces directly administered by Great Britain and more than 500 different princely states, including particularly difficult situations like Kashmir, still a major issue to this date. Given the enormity of this task, it is perhaps not surprising that most political experts in 1947 gave India little chance of making it, thinking the map of India might turn out to look more like Europe today, with each state's own language and culture too diverse to be assimilated into a composite national identity. While challenges undoubtedly continue, particularly in Kashmir and the northeast, the structural integrity of India has remained, with its federal democracy evolving to accommodate new states, like Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, and most recently in 2014, the new state of Telangana, which was created out of Andhra Pradesh. Even today, there are dozens of aspirant states hoping for independent statehood, but within the Indian Union, adding to the momentum of India's ongoing national revolution. India's national revolution has largely been achieved without digital technology. However, the digital context certainly continues to shape its growth and evolution. Consider the impact of ICT on communication within the Indian Union. Translation software in particular can ease communication strains in a country of tremendous linguistic diversity. We'll speak more of in week 3 about that. For another example, look no further than India's digitally savvy Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whose 20 million Twitter followers qualify him as the second most followed politician in the world, behind only President Barack Obama. He trails in India only Amitabh Bachchan, the big B of Bollywood, but he's ahead of other screen legends like Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, Salman Khan, Priyanka Chopra, Deepika Padukone. Narendra Modi even used 3D holograms of himself in order to be able to address the citizens of India in multiple locations at once during the election campaign in 2014. And there's also Narendra Modi's own mobile app, which has reached over 1 million Android downloads. Via the app, users can not only receive news and information, but they can also write to the Prime Minister directly. They can listen to the Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat radio broadcast in 30 different languages. The app's even gamified, so you can collect badges and earn points for completing tasks within it. In a country as diverse as India, with different languages, religions, climates and cultures, such technologies are playing a key role in strengthening the national identity. Now let's consider India's democratic revolution. India's democratic revolution began nearly 70 years ago, with an instantaneous grant of universal suffrage to hundreds of millions of Indians, regardless of income, gender or social group. But digital technologies play an important role in enriching all stages of India's democratic cycle, from election campaigns to election day procedures to the functioning of government itself. First, let's take the election campaigns. Social media has become a key election campaign tool around the world, and India is no exception. Platforms like Facebook and Twitter are key channels helping political parties connect with their supporters. Shaili Chopra's book, The Big Connect, Politics in the Age of Social Media, traces the advent of social media on Indian electoral politics, documenting the BJP's first mover advantage, Congress's attempt to fight back, and the Aam Aadmi Party's effective use of social media in the 2013 Delhi elections. As the book was published just before the election of Narendra Modi in 2014, we are due for an update on how the BJP's social media tactics have changed following the transition from opposition to government. But now let's consider election day procedures. If you recall the state of Florida's 2000 presidential election troubles, you'll be relieved to hear that there are no hanging chads in India. India introduced electronic voting machines in 1999, which became nationwide in 2004. These battery-operated, made-in-India devices have been a major contribution to ensuring the integrity of the voting process in the world's largest democracy, and have even been adopted in other countries in Africa and Asia. The last point on the impact of the digital age on India's democratic revolution comes down to the function of government itself, e-governance. Digital technology creates potential for central, state and local governments to deliver more effective services to their citizens. It is one step to have the Right to Information Act, but the digitisation of government records will make it possible for citizens to access important information necessary to hold their governments accountable. I'll touch more on this in week 5 when we come to the JAM Trinity, India Stack, and other aspects falling under the government's Digital India initiative. Lastly, let's briefly touch on India's social revolutions. We will cover some of these in greater detail later in the course, but there is no doubt that Indian society is on the cusp of momentous change in terms of gender and caste norms, the struggle between tradition and modernity, and the role of the family as a social unit. It has been pointed out that all forms of humanity are still present in India today. From tribes living an isolated, primitive existence in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, to those living in tech-savvy luxury in India's metros. A cross-section of such a society yields the fullest possible range of belief systems that have characterized civilizational growth in India and elsewhere. This is important because of the way that digital technologies allow citizens to rally and raise awareness for important causes. As we saw in the case of political parties, activists have also become adept at harnessing digital technologies like social media to support their causes. India's traditional forms of protest, for example camping out at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi, are now often accompanied by, if not in fact driven by, social media campaigns. Websites like IPaidAbribe.com have allowed Indian citizens to post more than 80,000 reports on corruption, while apps like IChangeMyCity.com allow citizens to highlight civic issues, alerting government agencies of potholes and things that need fixing or garbage that needs collecting. Let's consider 3 different examples. Back in 2009, there was public outrage following a violent attack on women in a pub in Mangalore in southern India by the Sri Ram Sena, a right-wing Hindu group advocating against what it deemed immoral behaviour against Indian traditions. Footage of the attack, widely seen on TV and shared on social media, led to the formation of a Facebook group called the Consortium of Pub-Going Loose and Forward Women. For Valentine's Day, the day the Sri Ram Sena pledged to forcibly marry any young couples it saw together, the so-called Pink Chuddy campaign was launched, encouraging women as well as men across India to send pink undergarments to the offices of those responsible. This is just one colourful example of the countless cases of the power of social media to direct social activism. It's important to realise, though, that this type of activism is not reserved only to city centres. Secondly, we can take inspiration from the work of an NGO called Video Volunteers, which aims to empower marginalised communities to produce stories, take action and devise solutions to local problems. Their mission is to equip people in local communities with video journalism skills, to expose underreported stories, to take action and to correct injustice. Find their video in the further resources section to see how the increasing availability of smartphones, which can easily capture and record and share video, is a powerful tool when applied to social causes. It is also interesting to note that the founder of the US branch of this NGO is an alumna of the W.J. Clinton Fellowship of the American India Foundation, one of the many great postgraduate opportunities in India for US students. We'll be covering more on opportunities in India for US university students and graduates in week 6. Our final example comes from the effort to preserve India's internet itself. Discussion on a Reddit thread led to the formation of a volunteer collective, SaveTheInternet.in, which, in teaming up with a popular YouTube comedy channel, AIB, I won't spell it out because it involves a rude word in Hindi, they made a viral video, a series of viral videos in fact, explaining what is at stake in the net neutrality debate. At their urging, 1.1 million people emailed petitions to TRAI, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, which played a key role in their decision this past February to outlaw different pricing of data packages, a move to counter the interests of both the big telecom companies and Facebook's Free Basics initiative, and reversing TRAI's own consultation paper 11 months prior. Democracy in the digital age in action.